Hello, good morning and welcome to Hlspwns World YouTube channel. Yesterday we had the full release of Assetto Corsa Competizione. To me, and I called it all those months ago, in my personal opinion, I think this is currently the most advanced racing simulator on the market. The physics in this game have really been tweaked and polished up. I'm going to go over that a lot more in a minute. Just so you know what's going on, I'm doing a race round Brands Hatch and we're in an orange Audi R8. The AI in testing last night at 90% were a little bit above my pace. So for this race I dialed it back to 80. Well, I've dialed it back way too far and I've qualified in first position. Hopefully the race isn't boring for you in the background, but this will be a talking head video with me going through why I think, if you've not even looked at this yet, this is the best on the market currently. Anyway, I'm going to get this race done and then I'll voice over the top of it. Hello and welcome to the voiceover. Just sit back, relax and watch probably one of the most uninteresting races I have ever had. Yes, it's fantastic to qualify on pole and to finish first, but I really was hoping for some racing action to show you guys. But as I dialed the AI back too far and I'd filmed the race, I didn't want to do it again because pretty much I'd run out of time, so apologies on that front. The burning question that you all want to know: is Assetto Corsa Competizione any good? Well, with 32 hours in the game and now having the final release and having a damn good sessions testing in all the new cars at Brands Hatch, a circuit I know very well from the other sim games that I've tried, I think I've come to a pretty good assessment. But there is a small caveat. You guys might be interested in the career path, whereas I haven't tried that out currently. The reason being, I'm a very casual sim racing person. Unless I'm racing online with friends, I'm setting up quick rounds against the AI at cars and tracks I love. I just love experimenting with different setups. So at the moment, that's all I've really done in ACC. But what I have done is tried each car, and there are some overwhelmingly positives coming from that, but I'll come to that in a moment. Something that seems to resound from testing and from reading and watching other people's comments and my own personal opinions is that Assetto Corsa Competizione is not finished. I feel it's been rushed out and there's still a lot of optimisation that needs to be done. A big disappointment is that final release of the game doesn't have any RTX graphics options. One of the main reasons for me buying an RTX card was to buy games that were going to have these options, and I wanted to see how much more immersive ray trace graphics made a racing title, but as yet it still feels like early access, as that hasn't come to fruition. Obviously it will do in the future, but for a final release of the game, I was expecting it, put it that way. And if you've seen my other ACC video with the car Ghz, when I was editing that, there was a lot of glitched frames in the replay that I had to remove because it simply looked terrible. Since the early access, there's also been a problem with the VR scaling. And to be honest, I was expecting this to have been resolved in the final release, and it's still a problem to this present final version. In that, if you leave the scaling at 100%, you are unable to set any VR super scaling. So to get around this problem, if you set the VR scaling to 101%, you can then change the VR super scaling, and setting it to say 120% stops ACC from looking blurry in VR. But therein lies a problem, because if you do that, the VR menus then seem to suddenly morph into the actual A-pillars of the car and you can't see all the menus properly. Really? Come on, this should have been sorted a long time ago, and I can't believe in the final release of the game that's still a problem. But that's enough of the negatives, and let's get on to the positives, because there is a lot in ACC. The physics are to me best currently in simulator class. The sound is absolutely the best again in any of the current simulators, and also the force feedback, much like Assetto Corsa, on my wheel works straight out the box. I've changed absolutely no settings, and the connection I've got with the car is just, it's the best experience I have had thus far. So let's dive in a little deeper about the physics in ACC. During early access, I was always of the opinion that there was somewhat held back. And I can understand this, because in early access you don't want all your competitors to have you seeing you put all your cards on the table. And it seems that from early access to the full game, Kunos and 505 Games have sprinkled some secret sauce to the physics. So what makes ACC stand out to other simulators? Because they all do a very good job in their own respects. In my opinion, it's the different handling characteristics of each vehicle. Each vehicle has got its own feeling of weight and inertia and tyre slip. And it's that tyre slip and feeling of weight and the inertia, as combined with the sound in ACC, that gives you an immersion and feeling that other simulators just aren't delivering. And I find this difficult to explain, but the tyre slip in ACC is by far the best of any of the current simulators. At low speed slip angles, the slip feels very progressive and natural, and quite often you can catch it and bring it back. It's not like that if you've gone into a slide, it's uncontrollable and it spat you off. The slide is very accumulative to your speed. And what I've noticed in ACC from the newest final release game is something I've never ever seen in another simulator, in that when you're going into a corner too fast and you manage to four-wheel drift, or you manage to slide the car, but the slide is not fast enough to spin the car, but because of the weight of the vehicle, it sort of like shudders along, and it really is all it does is scrubs off speed. And I have an analogy for this. If you've ever shopped at one of the main supermarkets, Asda, Morrison's, Tesco's, all that, we all do, we all have to live. Those shopping trolleys are very small and light, and if you do try and drift them round in the shopping centre, the front wheels have got a fast turning circle, and because the trolleys are light, they don't really drift and they tip over. If you've ever shopped at Costco, they have very big, heavy trolleys with a very wide wheelbase. They are much bigger than your average shopping trolley, and you can really drift them around corners. But what you will find is that if you don't take a corner fast enough, when you go to drift, you end up pushing the trolley round the corner, and because of the weight and inertia, the whole thing vibrates and it makes such a horrible sound, and you are literally pushing the car through the slide. And I've experienced this in ACC, and I've got a clip of it with the Porsche, which I'm going to show you now, just to highlight what I mean. Talking of the Porsche, this is one of the cars in ACC that you cannot just drive like you do with perhaps some of the other cars, the Nissan GTR, the Audi R8. It is very rear end centric in that you have to drive the car perfectly. If you overdrive the car, it punishes you because that rear is swinging around like a pendulum. and it's just the feeling that I get through the wheel, through the force feedback, through VR. It's not like other games haven't done it before, but ACC just nails it perfectly. And going back to the comment I made earlier, every car drives differently, and every car is so different, and it's different with the physics. It's not like they had, pretty much a standard model and have tweaked it to make it feel like how it should. It's like each car has been completely modelled on that car. Now, I'm going to have to be honest with you guys and girls. This whole immersion feeling package, everything that rolls into one to make ACC, in my opinion, the best sim on the market at the moment, I'm feeling through VR. I presume you get the same sort of feeling with a triple screen. Now, the difference between VR to the flat screen is that it puts you there in the car. Not only that, everything in VR is bigger. You've got like almost a full-size car around you, and I think because of that you can see all the micro adjustments in the suspension. Because you're physically there, you're moving with the suspension, you can see everything, you can hear everything. That visceral experience all rolls into one. Now, I've got to admit, when you play this in 2D, I don't get that connection. And the way I'm selling this to you guys is that if you're not playing in VR, I don't think you're going to get the same experience. Now, that might be a good thing, that might be a bad thing. Sadly, I'm spoiled, and I do not like racing in 2D. That's not snobbery or anything like that. It's just, once you've been to VR, you don't want to do it any other way. Like I say, I have to work at my driving. Now, I am terrible. I'm a crap sim racer in 2D. I really would have to practice to put in very good clean laps and very clean fast laps. VR certainly gives you the opportunity to perform at the highest level almost instantly because it's so intuitive to real life driving. And not only that, I'm looking through the windscreen on the car to the outside world, whereas when I'm playing 2D, I'm in a room looking at a flat screen at some distance away, and then I'm watching the screen to get all that information from it. And there's a disconnection, absolutely a disconnection. So this high level, overwhelmingly positive experience is coming from VR, and maybe that's something people need to consider. This, as I mentioned, for me in VR, that visceral experience at the moment cannot be beaten, and that's why I'd say go out, give it a try, give it a go. You can buy it off Steam, and if you don't like it, if you've played it for less than 2 hours, you can refund it. But this is, to me, the go-to sim, purely for physics, feel, visceral feeling, everything like that. Hope you've enjoyed this review, and please sound off in the comments below if you think I've talked absolute codswallop. Let me know what you think. I just, honestly, this is the go-to title at the moment. Anyway, I'm rambling on far too much. It's quite late at night at the moment, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. If you got to the end, respect to you. As ever, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you're a continued subscriber, like the video, share, all that shenanigans, and I will see you soon in future videos. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.